Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm feeling a lot better today. I actually got my little dance out early, so I'm ready. I'm prepared. I'm excited. Allison, are you all right?
No.
Allison, what's wrong?
Nothing.
Allison, seriously.
Nothing.
Do you want to do a little mini tribal?
No.
You never say no to a tribal.
No tribal.
Do you need a hug?
No.
Allison?
Fine. This is weird.
Well, what's wrong with you? Who peed in your Cheerios this morning?
Somebody peed in my Cheerios?
No.
There weren't even Cheerios.
I know, it's an expression. Like, did you wake up on the wrong side of the bed?
There's only one way to wake up.
Allison, are you serious right now? It's like, did someone ruin your day?
Someone's gonna ruin my day?
Allison, you're listening to things you want to hear. You're being such a girl right now.
I'm a girl.
You are a girl, yes. Allison, but what are we going to do to fix this? Are you going to be okay?
No.
Allison, am I going to have to take you to your quiet place? Oh, Allison. Oh, Allison, it's gonna be okay. Now tell me what's wrong.
I don't want to leave.
I know, it's gonna be okay.
But I'm never going to see any of these people again.
Allison, you know we go to school with all of them, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Put me down.
Yeah, you just gotta talk to them. You just give a couple of them your number or something, whoever you liked.
Oh. This is giving me some inspiration.
Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe. It's hard to look right at your
Are you better now? Did you get it out of your system?
I think so.
Okay, good. So we can go?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and think about this. Like, we're gonna hang out like this again. We have winter conference coming up.
Duh.
Yeah, right?
Oh my gosh, winter conference is so much fun. Where we stay, there's like a mall across the street, and we can like go shopping like whenever there's a break.
Whoa,
and...
hey. Focus. Serious time. Serious.
But seriously, winter conference is really cool, and for me, I didn't know like a lot of the girls, and I just like went for it, and I was blessed with really good friendships, and there's little speakers and things like that, and it's really refreshing. Little speakers, big speakers, but it's just a really, really good, fun time. And what about you, Brock?
I mean, the whole thing is, it's just an opportunity for us as students to be developed and poured into by people that are very wise and awesome, and it just allows us to be shown like how to have a heart for the world. And that doesn't necessarily mean like our goal is to make every one of you overseas missionaries. No, it's like the world is even here in America. Like, to learn how to function in your classrooms, to learn how to function in the workplace. Like, as a Christian who's showing love, who's caring for people, and really expressing like Christ through their lives. And so that's what the conference is really about. It's just equipping students through there and showing you opportunities in America and overseas, like where you can serve the Lord. And it's just a really cool opportunity. I know for me, again, when I was a freshman, I was very misinformed. I was kind of like yeah, I'll go. And then I had no idea what I was doing until I got there. And so it was a big surprise. And like after that conference, it just really opened my eyes to just like how to really wait on the Lord and just like trust in Him to take me somewhere. So it's just a really cool thing.
And it's really cool because it's over winter break, and so it's over New Year's. So you ring in the New Year you have a dance party all night, and then you ring in the New Year with worship.
Yeah.
So
you see these things? You guys have these? Yeah. There's information on like when it will be. It'll be the 28th of December. I know it's like after Christmas, but that's the key word, after Christmas. So you should be done with holidays, except for New Year's. Unless like New Year's is like the craziest thing in the world to you. Don't worry, we've supplied that craziest thing in the world for you because there's a New Year's party. Yeah. So if you have any questions, there will be information on this card for you. Dan will probably talk a little bit about it. But on that note of saying Dan, I think we're going to call him up for his final talk. Da 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 da.
Okay, I will talk about winter conference since you guys did. I've got lots of things It's like we planned it, you guys. Am I on, Aaron? I put this thing on my... On Sunday morning, I finally get the microphone right. How does that... what does that say about me? It's just so ironic that I'm an operations director here. My skills are pathetic in these areas. How does this happen? I don't even know. You know, so I do want to say a couple things about the winter conference. Both Amanda and Aaron are part of the program team for the main meetings, and so they can give you a little bit of insight about that. But yes, Allison, it really is true. The requirement, one of the criteria by which we choose our winter conference speakers is that no one can be taller than 5'6". They are little speakers. Actually, I'm very excited about our speakers. Some of you guys might know Mike Erie. He's a pastor in the area and somebody who's been really very well regarded as he's been at several different churches. I think he spoke at the Indianapolis Christmas Conference last year, and he's spoken in San Diego before, but he's making his way back, and we're really, really excited about that. The other speaker that I want to point out there, not Steve Douglas, who's the president of Campus Crusade, who's stopping in as a real special treat for us. I want to point out the name Michael O there for you. Michael actually lives in Japan. He's got 4 Ivy League degrees. He has started a Bible college in Japan as somebody who really has a vision for helping reach Japan for Christ. He is just absolutely fantastic. And so he's somebody that I'm very excited to introduce to San Diego as a new speaker this year. But there are a couple things. Some of you guys who were there last year, you know that we did this online faith experience. We're going to do that again this year, and we're going to expand on it. But the other thing that we're going to do as part of our Day of Faith is we're going to actually package 100,000 meals in partnership with Feeding Children Everywhere. And we're going to put together 100,000 meals that will be distributed, 35,000 of them in the Santa Ana School District in Orange County, 65,000 meals in the Roland School District in LA County. And these meals will become part of the free lunch program for low-income families, not just for their meals during the day, but we're going to be able to bless their families by sending them home with meals for the weekend because of what we're doing together as part of our Day of Faith. I'm very excited about it. The ways that we can bless our neighborhood, bless our region, bless the world through something as significant as the winter conference. So my hope is that you guys will put it on your Christmas list, ask your parents to underwrite the tab as your big Christmas present this year. Make plans now to be with us because I think it's going to be just a tremendous time. A couple other things that I wanted to say just in introductory remarks. I speak at enough of these fall getaways that people often ask me, how are we doing? What do we look like? And I actually, Holly and I were talking about you guys last night behind your backs. And it's been such a privilege to be here and to have our family here. Mackenzie's had a great time. Grant's had a great time. Murphy did throw up twice last night. But fortunately, she got out of bed with Holly because Holly was on her mattress and over there, and Murphy was sleeping at her feet and on her legs and on her belly at times, I'm sure, as well. Murphy's a little bit of a wild sleeper in that regard, but Murphy got up and she went into her crate and she threw up twice, but she did it in her crate for us. That was really very nice of her, we thought. So, but we were talking about you guys last night and how fun it's been to be with you. Part of what stands out to me is really the love that you guys seem to have for one another, how much you really genuinely enjoy one another, and the way that you serve. I just was so impressed yesterday morning when virtually half the room got up to talk about helping to lead in either one of the servant teams or ministry team settings. You guys are people who are not just talking about your faith in a theoretical sense, but you're living it out and you're serving and blessing others. Keep pressing on. It actually is fantastic. And I want to build this morning on something that we started last night. I don't know how the women's time went, but I would say that among the guys' time, the feedback that I got was that the discussion groups, when guys were interacting over this content and they were processing life both personally and spiritually together, that guys went deeper in relationships with guys even that they didn't know. One guy even told me that he shared something that he'd never told anyone before. And I just think that this is significant for us as we consider how we are going to go deeper in our relationships, living lives authentically before God and before others so that God is pleased with us. Not just kind of checking in and checking out and doing the superficial thing, but going deeper and sharing items of real substance. Now, I want to show you a picture of a gal that I met in San Diego the very first summer that we were there in San Diego. And though she looks like Meg Ryan, her name is actually Hannah. And Hannah It's not there? Okay. I was hoping it would be there. It makes the story a whole lot better if she's actually on the screen. So we were directing our first summer project. Grant was 1.5, and before we left for summer project, Grant was on a tremendous schedule. He would go to sleep at about 7. What's that? No. I'll get to that part of the story. But Holly's right. When she was on project, she did not have 4 children and a husband. She was 18. Okay. But she still looked like Meg Ryan. So anyway, we were in this great schedule with Grant before we came, but then we got to project and everything blew up, and so I just wasn't getting any sleep. Grant was waking up at 4:30 and 5 in the morning, and then the days would go long into the night because of all the student responsibilities, and so this night had gotten over early. And I was sitting down, and we had ESPN in our room, and so I was going to watch SportsCenter. The late SportsCenter to me from the Midwest, which happens at 8 o'clock on the West Coast, because at 9 o'clock I have nothing left in the tank here this night. And there's a knock on our door, and I just don't even want to answer it, because I just, for goodness sakes, I've had enough. I need the students to kind of go, play trucks themselves or something. I don't know, but I need some space here. But it's Hannah at the door, and so we open the door, and she stands there and she says, "I need to tell you my story." And I'm thinking to myself, this feels like a trap. And I say, okay. And so we invite her in, and Holly comes in. And Hannah says, I feel like people don't really know me until they've heard my story. That they can't possibly know the real me until they've heard my story. And she goes on to explain how when she was in her early childhood, I can't remember exactly, 8 or 9 years old, her dad murdered her mom, 2 of her siblings, stabbed her in the abdomen, and left her for dead. So she and then her baby sister, who survived the attack as well, they were the ones who lived. And she unfolded it in some measure of detail and let me know that her dad was in the state penitentiary in my hometown, and that's where he was and would be for the rest of his life. And it reminded me that behind every person's face is this amazing story that God is working. And in Hannah's case, she would have had every reason to go and to, from a human perspective, be bitter and angry and resentful and all of that for the rest of her life. But Hannah was making some choices to be real in her relationship with God and in her relationship with other people. And God was blessing that authenticity. And now, you see the picture here with her husband and with her kids. She is somebody who, as I read her Facebook posts, is just living life, enjoying it, raising kids in a manner that I believe pleases God, and blessing her community and her neighborhood. We need to be people who have relationships of real depth and real substance. It's easy to kind of water ski through life, just blazing over from one person to the next and missing what God really has for us. But part of what I'm going to say this morning is that real community, the kind of community that we dream about, the kind of community that we long for, it's there for us, but it always takes real work to get there. And we have to be people who are committed to living in authentic relationships of depth with one another. This picture here is actually a statue, and as far as I can tell, the origin of this comes from an interaction that the first editor of Kiwanis magazine, his name was Roe Fulkerson, had with a boy who was carrying his brother in a park in 1924. So Roe Fulkerson, the editor of Kiwanis magazine, published a column carrying the title, "He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother." And so dated September 1924, this article speaks of Fulkerson's encounter with a spindly and physically weak young lad carrying a baby and staggering towards a neighboring park. Fulkerson said, "Pretty big load for such a small kid," I said as I met him. "Why, mister," he smiled, "he ain't heavy, he's my brother." This morning our lesson is about community. God doesn't call us to be alone. He calls us into this incredible community. He calls us into the very family of God. I've had the privilege of experiencing these kinds of biblical community in lots of different places and ways in my life. One of them was when I was on stint. Some of you heard Brock talk about being on stint, short-term international. After graduation, in my case, I went and spent a year in what turned out to be Romania with 3 other people. And it was this incredible year of living life with people in just an incredibly significant way. You know, it was just absolutely so fun. We were in language school 5 hours a day, 5 days a week in this particular country at this particular time. Every country is a little bit different, but in our language class, some of us were better at language, and some of us weren't as strong. And Bill, my team leader, was one of the ones who was, well, he was from southern Georgia, so he couldn't even really speak English, quite frankly. But when he was trying to learn Romanian, he was so frustrating to our teachers. And at one point, Doamna Vuștea, who had these giant Coke bottle glasses, she got so fed up with Bill as he was trying to speak her mother tongue, and she just curls her fist and she says, "Bill, I kill you." We experienced life together as we traveled, because in traveling in these countries, it just was, you know, it just always kind of brought bad things to your stomach and intestinal system. And so you'd say, "Vicky, did you bring the diarrhea medicine?" I mean, we lived life like that with one another. We lived life. I remember being in the market where we would go shopping, and until I learned a little bit of the language, I literally walked around the market kind of like I was in a daze, because I'm the only male in the whole market, and I'm the only person under probably 60 years old in the market. And I didn't speak the language, so I'd go to the vendors and I'd hold my money out, and I'd just say, kind of, take whatever you need because I need to buy this or I'd like to buy that. You know, that was my experience in the market. That's what we lived with. We lived with hardship. I mean, right before we moved into the place that was home for Bill and I for the year, the gals who were on the stint previous to ours, they trapped a rat, and Mark Coman clubbed it to death in the corner of what turned out to be my dresser, and so they killed the rat, and they took pictures and documented it. It was a lot of fun for us. But about 6 weeks later, when we were living in that room, it was interesting because I came back, and Bill, you know, he made all the little old ladies happy. He was the nicest guy ever to land in Romania, ever, I'm convinced. But he would buy flowers from the little old ladies every day because he knew they just weren't making any money at all. And so he would buy the flowers, and he would give them to all of us, and that's just what he did. It was like his daily contribution to the little old ladies in Bucharest. And so we had flowers on our table, and I came back one day and I noticed that they were all cut right under the flower head, and so it was just a bunch of stems in the vase. And I thought, that's really strange. Bill does some strange things, but I haven't seen this before. So I asked him about it later, and he said, "No, I didn't do that." And I said, "Well, I didn't do that." And so we kind of went on. The next day, because Bill had gotten more flowers, I found fresh flower heads over by the toilet. I said, "Now, Bill, what are you doing with the flowers by the toilet?" Because there was a giant hole in the wall next to our toilet. You have to know that piece of the story as well for it to make sense. And as it turns out, Mama Rat had actually had baby rats before she met an untimely demise from her perspective. And so baby rats had grown up, and they were starting to infest our room. Later that night, the rats were running laps around the room, which was fine with me. We can cohabitate and all, but at one point when I sleep on my belly like this, and so I had my hands over the edge of my bed, and when one of the little rats put his little paws up on my hands, I said, "Enough, Bill! I can't take it anymore!" And so we devised this trap, and we took the Kinko's highlighters, and we put a piece of what we'll call pepperoni in between it, and we propped up our bread box, and we turned off the lights, and we had a trap, and we waited. And pretty soon the rats are running laps around our room again, and they put their little paws up on there because they wanted the pepperoni, and we had it. What we hadn't considered is, what do you do with the rat once you've caught him? So we had another conference, and we decided that what we were going to do is we were going to take the bread box and make the rat super dizzy, lift the bread box, put a cup over him, slide a piece of cardboard underneath, and then we'd have him in a way that we could take care of him. So we did the dizzy thing, we put the cup on him, we slid the cardboard under, and then we took him to the balcony, and we lived on the 9th floor. You think you know what's coming next, don't you? And we hurled him as far as we possibly could over onto the chicken shack across that's what we called it anyway, the chicken shack, right? So we did that 7 more times before I think we finally got rid of the rats. My point is this, that in real community, life unfolds, and even the hardship becomes very manageable because you're doing it with people that you enjoy. Whether it's the diarrhea medicine, whether it's language school, whether it's rats in your room, when you live in community with people that you enjoy, your ability to endure just changes. What I can promise each one of you is that you are going to face great hardship in life. And Jesus, as the Psalms so eloquently tell us, He is our rock and He is our refuge. He is our ever-present help in time of need. And He calls us to live in community with people who see Jesus in the same way. One of the privileges that you have as you are involved with Cru at Cal Poly Pomona is that you enter into a community with people who already are predisposed to want to have that kind of experience with you. It's real community. Our character from the weekend, Moses, also lived in real community. I want you to flip over to Exodus chapter 17, and we're going to read verses 8 to 16 in Exodus chapter 17. You have to understand that this is after manna has come down from heaven. This is after they've gotten water from the rock. This is after they've gone through the Red Sea. This is after they've seen so many amazing things happen. This is what Scripture says in Exodus chapter 17, starting at verse 8. Then Amalek came and fought with Israel at Rephidim. So Moses said to Joshua, "Choose for us men and go out and fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand." Do you remember that same staff that he rose and the Red Sea parted, the same rod that he struck the rock and water came from it? Take the staff of God and go up on the hill. So Joshua did as Moses told him and fought with Amalek, while Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up on the top of the hill. Whenever Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed, and whenever he lowered his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands grew weary, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it, while Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side, the other on the other side. So his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Joshua overwhelmed Amalek and his people with the sword. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Write this as a memorial in a book, and recite it in the ears of Joshua, that I will utterly blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven." And Moses built an altar and called the name of it, "The Lord is my banner," saying, "A hand upon the throne of the Lord. The Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation." You know, I really only have one main point this morning, just one. As we talk about God's community here, it's that we are better together. You know, I want to consider the key people in this passage in order to give some context here. The first person I want you to know about is Amalek. The Israelite people were fighting against the Amalekites, and Amalek was the grandson of Esau. Do you remember Esau was Jacob's brother who lost out in the inheritance, and Jacob received the blessing? They certainly could have known about the promise of Canaan, and I would think that they would know about the promise of the promise that Israel would inherit the promised land that was given to Abraham, Isaac, and to Jacob, the twin brother of Esau. This tradition certainly would have passed down through the generations. Israel here is testing God rather than passing the tests of God. That's what we see in verse 7. It says that they called this place, the name of this place, Massah and Meribah, because of the quarreling of the people. They're testing God rather than passing the tests of God. The Israelite people here, even as they complain and the water and the food and all these things, they're forgetting the provision of God over and over. Whether it was the Red Sea, the bitter water made sweet, the manna, the water from the rock, they are, in this context, forgetting the provision of God. Now, I want to stop here and kind of give you some context on those 2 points. One is, Amalek, they would have known, and here they are in direct opposition to what God has promised the people of Israel, and they're standing in their way. So we have this conflict brewing. The second thing that I want you to get here is that like the Israelites, we often have very short memories. In other words, an experience like this weekend is one that you probably, for many of us, will say, it was fabulous. I came home tired, and I certainly needed a shower and all of that. But it was fun. It was refreshing. And then we jump back all too quickly into our normal routines, and we forget what God did when we met him in this community. We need to be people who remember in these times. You guys, from the point that Israel left Egypt to this point, most scholars say it's only 6 months. And they've seen these incredible miracles, and yet they are still operating with this sense of doubt and rebellion toward God. Why are the Amalekites fighting with Israel at this point? Well, this Rephidim actually in the Hebrew means rest. And so it's likely that this is the Wadi Rephadi, I don't know exactly how you say that, in southwest Sinai, instead of the Wadi Faran. And perhaps as this was the place where the people were refreshed, and there was an oasis in the desert. So we're to look to the Lord who stands before us. He's the one who gives us a vision of himself and brings us to a place of rest. So the water may have been the draw. The water may help set the context here, but it's the interplay of roles and relationships that I really want to talk about. So Moses. Who was Moses? Moses was the leader of the Hebrew people. We talked about him and how he was at least at first very insecure about his calling and wasn't somebody who ran eagerly into what God had laid out for him. Yet he's somebody who faithfully went and he did what God instructed at every turn. And that was instructive to us because we have our own insecurities. We have our own fears. We have our own doubts. We have our own just kind of you don't know moments. And to see that Moses, this great hero of the faith, had those same kinds of doubts, and yet to see how God used him powerfully is inspiring to us. And yet Moses never did it alone. Moses had people around him. Look at these people, right? Moses, in this moment, has a great need. He cannot hold his arms up, and for whatever reason, God is choosing to make the battle successful for Joshua on the battlefield when Moses' arms are raised. But Moses is not alone. As heroic of a figure as he is to us, he's not alone. We see Aaron, right? Who was Aaron? Aaron was Moses' older brother who lived in his younger brother's shadow from start to finish, didn't he? We don't really... Aaron was clearly a highly capable, very talented person in his own right. He was the high priest of all of Israel, as it turns out. He filled this incredibly valuable and important function for the entire nation of Israel, and yet he lived always in his younger brother's shadow. It would have been easy for him. To just kind of be bitter about that. But Aaron had some pretty significant fail moments as well, didn't he? When Moses was up on Mount Sinai getting the 10 Commandments, his older brother Aaron was down and leading the people into this rebellion against God where they brought their gold together and they fashioned it into a golden calf and they were worshiping the golden calf. And so here's somebody who has an epic fail moment in life who's still going on and being used by God. And he is a peer to his brother Moses. What about her? What do we know about her? From Exodus 20, verse 14, we know that he's mentioned with Aaron and Joshua again, and he's clearly a trusted associate of Moses. One source made the case that Hur was either the husband of Miriam, Moses' sister, or Miriam's son. Now, there isn't conclusive evidence on that, but there's some historical evidence that leads this person to believe that Hur was actually Moses' brother-in-law, another peer, or perhaps he was his nephew. I ask you this question because these were clear peers and trusted associates of Moses, Aaron and Hur. My question for you is this. If you were going to get married next weekend, who would stand with you in your wedding? How would you select those people? Is it just because they're born in the same blood family as you? Is that how you would select? Is it because you shared a particular experience in high school? Who would those people be? We want to stand with people who know us well and who know us over time, don't we? And for some of us, we hear that question, and it creates this kind of this longing, this vague void in our lives, because we recognize that right now our list of relationships is not of the quantity or the substance that we would desire. In either case, both Aaron and Hur had shared a lot of life with Moses. They were his peers. They were men who walked through life together. They were men who worked together. They undoubtedly called each other to lives of fidelity toward God. I said something like this to the men, but I'll say it here together, is that those discussion groups that we had last night were not accidental. They weren't something that we just did to fill time. They were highly purposeful. The guys on the men's group want you guys to know each other well. I'm sure it's the same on the women's side, where you're going beyond just kind of the superficial, kind of how'd you do on the last test, and was there anybody at Crew that caught your attention at the last meeting? Beyond all that, to, hey, let's talk about the real substance and issues of life. Who are those people in your life? But that's not all that's here, is there? There's Joshua. Joshua is the one whom Moses mentored. Because you see, it is important and of great substance to have peers in my life, but I need to be somebody who's multiplying my life of faith into the lives of others all the time. That is the normal Christian experience, is to be discipling and mentoring the next generation all the time. And so whether you're a freshman or whether you're like a super duper senior, and I know that there are some of you in this group, we need to be people who are in the habit of discipling others. Whether it's your church and doing something with the Sunday school class, whether it's going over to the high school and doing something at the high school, whether it's people in your Bible study and your small group on campus, we need to be people who are intentionally making deposits into the next generation so that they will multiply their lives of faith as well. And Moses clearly did that with Joshua. And Joshua was somebody who, because of the preparation that he experienced with Moses, was able to then go on and lead the people of Israel in the next generation. You know, these peers, think about who these peers are. They're people who are at a similar stage of life that are sharing experiences as we're going through them. You know, for Holly and I, we have absolutely enjoyed the interaction with Jim and Christy this week, because we've shared enough similar experiences in life that when we sit together at a table, it's just absolutely enjoyable for us. Much like the experience that you guys are having with one another here. When I think back to my undergrad days at Mizzou, there were lots of things that I enjoyed. Holly talked about MC in the weekly meeting. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed speaking at the meetings. I enjoyed leading a small group. I enjoyed sharing my faith. I enjoyed all of those things. I enjoyed Friday night prayer like probably a few others. But if you asked me to say what was your favorite thing about your days at Mizzou, I would talk to you about the Friday morning men's time that we had. There were about 6 of us who really shared a common vision for life and of ministry. We were deeply committed to one another, and we would get together from 6 to 8 a.m. after a long night on Thursday night after our weekly meeting, and we would have breakfast together, and we would certainly do a little bit of Bible study, and certainly we would pray together. But the purpose of this group, more than anything else, was that we were sharing in an authentic way what was going on in our lives. We would challenge one another. We would listen to one another. We would weep with one another. We would pray with one another. We would help one another. We just had this group that was something I hope for every one of you guys. That you could take the initiative with people in a similar stage of life and form these kinds of relationships that become friendships that go on, not just to serve with value in that season of life, but then for the rest of your life. And I've been fortunate to have people and people that I've sought out intentionally who've mentored me. When I was in junior high school, there was a college student, an undergrad student, who was, I mean, he's now a professor of nuclear chemistry at the University of Missouri, and he runs the research reactor. I mean, dude's smart, okay? But every weekend when he was an undergrad, he drove 30 minutes south to my hometown and spent the weekend with my family, so that on Friday night, he would take my brother and I, because we were the entire youth group, we would go over and we would clean the church together. And then on Saturday morning, we would do something fun together, and then he'd spend the rest of the day on Saturday studying, because he was a 4.0 student. That's how you get to be a professor of nuclear chemistry. And then on Sunday morning, he would teach our Sunday school class. You guys, he was God's absolute provision to me in an important season of my life. And so for him as a college student, mentoring meant that this junior high kid who was just way too prideful, way too loud, who needed a lot of help in life, that he just came down and he took care of me. And it was great. And my brother as well. And then I think about peers, and I think about guys that I've mentored at other seasons of life who've become my peers. You know, I've got a friend, Brian, who's now a physician down in southern Missouri, but he was somebody who, when he was an undergrad, just was one of those guys I connected real easily and real well with. And I had the privilege of mentoring him through an important season of his life. But now, you know, I don't really mentor him anymore. We talk as peers, and we share our lives together. And he is one of my very, very best friends. We need to be people who have these kind of people in our lives. But there are great threats to living this kind of authentic, vibrant, Christ-centered community that I'm describing. This is more than just being lonely or not having friends. A person could have lots of friends or acquaintances and still be in isolation. I think of what happens with the medical students that I work with back in St. Louis, and Lord willing, we'll hear before too long again in Southern California. But the reality is that medical students have lots of friends and lab partners and people that they work with, but because they live under this amazing pressure to perform all the time, and they just seem to have no free time at all, what happens is that they live in isolation. And I would say that many of them live lives of quiet desperation as a result, because of the pressures that they experience. You know, and what happens is that the enemy thrives when isolating the Christians, because he separates them off and then he devours them. So remember this: community rarely happens accidentally. You rarely just stumble into something that's this good. And so there's a temptation for us to do things alone at times because it perhaps seems more efficient, or maybe our skill level may be higher, for example. But ultimately, remember, the point is what? We are better together. So we have to learn to bond with others. So what is bonding? How is it that I do this? Bonding implies actually sharing thoughts and dreams and feelings with another person in a significant two-way relationship. I talked to the men last night about soul to soul, or process groups like Jim was describing the experience there in San Diego as well, and how important it is for us to tell the real key events and real people and real moments that have helped shape who we are, so that people can know us, just like Hannah did that night in San Diego when she knocked at the door and said, "I just don't feel like people know me until they've heard my story." We need to be people who are forthright to share the things that might generate insecurities, or they might generate even a bit of rejection or judgment, because, and we do this appropriately. I mean, that's why we did men's groups and women's groups, and we were careful with that because we want to do that appropriately, but we need to be in the habit of sharing those things in the right context, in the right setting. Isolation is a threat to true community, and that's why I so often talk to students about learning to ask good questions. The women will laugh when they hear that very often when I'm giving kind of guys assignments, I will have them buy the book 1001 Questions, and their assignment will be to ask a question to somebody every day from that book. Listen, women, we're doing the best we can with what we've got. It isn't easy, and so if we need a script, we'll get a script, okay? 1001 Book of Questions. You guys, that's probably worth getting for some of you guys. I know the engineering profile. Did I say that out loud, or did I just think it? Did I just think it, or did I say, ah? You know, being part of a small group. If you're not already part of a small group on campus, get involved with the small group, for goodness sakes. You guys, this is where we're going to share our life. And what happens is that we study God's Word together, and we share our life, kind of the superficial stuff, and then pretty soon we're going deeper, and we're going into what might be considered the taboo subject, because there's trust over time that's developing here. And I'm not advocating being casual with such sensitive and deep topics, but what I'm saying is that we have a need for a few close friends who are involved in these areas of our lives and who know what's going on, and it's really good. So my encouragement is this: don't hide and don't live in isolation. Take the initiative with others. Even here this weekend, you guys are taking the initiative to do that. I got to confess, this next one I wasn't exactly sure how to label. So I just landed on this idea of substitute community. The second threat to true community is what I might describe as substitute community. And these are the communities people that you associate with that have some of the elements of true community, but they're apart from Christ. The threat is that you'll enjoy these communities, but that they don't have all that you need apart from this vibrant relationship of Jesus being the center. Athletic teams were a little bit like this for me. That they were a substitute community. You know, I think that people that we go out with can be a form of substitute community. You know, fraternities and sororities can be a form of, for some people, substitute community. You know, even the virtual communities that we're a part of we've got to avoid that Facebook time warp, right? But those can be substitute communities. In other words, you share a number of important things in common with these people, but Christ isn't the center. Start with true community and then add these. I want to show you this picture. It's probably my favorite picture in all of the slides that I show you because these are my brothers, right? This is a picture at my wedding of the men who stood with me. Is that the picture you're looking at? In this picture are 2 blood brothers, 3 peers, and 4 guys that I mentored, who are now my peers. These guys are my friends. These are guys who discipled me. The guy who discipled me during my college years isn't in this picture because he performed and officiated the wedding, and so he wasn't in here. But these are guys, and we prayed together. We shared our faith together. We studied the Bible together. We lived on mission together. We prayed together daily. It was an amazing experience with these guys. One of these guys, Todd, who I think is on the far right there, real tall guy, he became a Christian the same night that I did. And we've stayed in touch in such a way that we roomed together for 3 years at the University of Missouri. And we, when I got back from Romania, he was the one who just said, Dan, you got to stop making these decisions, and you got to kind of get on this track. And it was really significant for me. And so he's had those kind of moments that are corrective in my life. And even just this past summer, we helped lead a wilderness trip together. And so it's fun. It's fun when you have people like this. I talk to my brothers. My middle brother I talk to probably every day. And my younger brother, I talk to, once a week. These are guys that have traveled through life with me. And I'm so thankful for them. 20 years from now, or 20 years from your wedding day, I want you to be able to put a picture up of the people who stood with you in your wedding and say the same kinds of things. Here's the deal, is that like Moses, we have to have peers. We have to have people like I have in this picture. If I had a problem in life, I could pick up the phone, and I think I could call probably any one of the guys in that picture right there, and they would change their schedule, and they would come, and they would give me the help that I need, when I need it, and where I need it. That's just what they would do. Like Moses, we need peers, men and women, through whom we will walk through life together. Like Moses, we need to be discipling others and making deposits into their lives. People like he did for Joshua. I want it for all of you guys, but it doesn't happen accidentally. Cru is more than just a club on campus. It's more like a hospital where people go to get well. And as we get well, we help others in that process of getting well. We want to go deeper in our relationships with Christ, and we need one another. It has been great to be with you. I want to pray with you before I go. Lord, we're so thankful for the example that we have of Moses and Aaron and Hur, and the peer relationships that they experienced. We're so thankful for the relationship that Moses had with Joshua as he discipled him and mentored him in his faith. It really is a blessing to think that when we become Christians, we enter into a new family, that we are part now of the family of God, and we can care for people in just this godly community, and we can be cared for in this way. And so I pray that as we leave from here, that one of the things that would happen in our lives is that we make a commitment to go deeper in these authentic relationships where we are walking in grace and extending grace to others. And so we pause to pray, giving you thanks in Jesus' name. Amen.
No glasses.
How y'all doing? Thank you, Dan. Finished it up, wrapped it up beautifully. Very successful. How are you guys feeling right now?
Can we give Dan a round of applause?
Yeah. All right, so we wanted to spend some time thanking people for providing such an awesome retreat. You guys enjoy yourselves here? Yeah, it was a good weekend? How many of you are exhausted because you slept like 3 hours last night? Unfortunately, I did too. I planned to go to bed at like 1, and then 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock later, I was in my bed. I was like, what am I doing? So we'll all go back home and relax. But first off, we definitely wanted to thank Dan. Dan, that was awesome. Like this whole weekend, you just led it well. And Holly, doing evangelism training, women's time, yes. And definitely wanted to thank our cooks. I don't know if are they here right now? Oh, there you guys are. Okay. Debbie, Gwen, Daniel, honestly, guys, they just were laboring for you. Oh, they coming up? And not only did Daniel just help cook and prep, he also rocked costumes and partied with us. So yeah, honestly, these three people here like rocked it the whole weekend. We're constantly prep, clean, prep, clean, hang out, prep, clean. Like honestly, that's ridiculous. How many of you guys have ever had to do something like that? Everyone in the back knows, all you servant people. Honestly, guys, thank you so much. You are so awesome. We really feel blessed by you. Woo!
Shall we do that?
I'm sorry. Is this for Dan? And Holly. Okay, Dan and Holly, we're going to read clap for you. Because now we have your gifts ready. So Dan and Holly, come on up.
What is that? Oh.
Are they going to open this now? Oh, Mackenzie and Grant? Mackenzie and Grant, please come to the front, please. Are they here? Are your children here? Mackenzie, get over here, please. Come on.
Please.
So we have gifts for you. Please open them. What is it? What is it?
Just make no noise.
Oh my gosh, it's a sweatshirt! Put it on now. Yeah. Woo! Oh, Mackenzie, you can wait. That's a t-shirt. You can do that later.
We're part of the Bronco Club.
We now accept you as Pomonians, or Pomonites, whatever we'll decide on later.
Broncos.
No, we don't do that, remember? So thank you. We also wanted to do a big shout out to Fall Retreat team for planning this.
Can they stand up? Get up.
Shannon, Frank, Tara, Matt, can you please come here?
Come on.
Allison and I have a special gift for you. Okay, stay there. Allison and I wanted to thank you with a sandwich hug each. Thank you, guys. Honestly, you blessed us so much with an awesome weekend. Thank you for all your hard work, your hours of planning. It finally paid off. It's over. You are released. And, we wanted to thank everyone who did sound. Aaron, Kyle, Cameron, and then Tobes for taking pictures the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Like, seriously?
Should we give them hugs too?
You will receive your sandwich hugs later because you still have to keep functioning. Okay? And a final shout out for the community team and for environment team environment for setting up this. Yeah? And for setting up decorations and helping with the party. Community team and environment, thank you guys so much. Like, that was a great party. That was a lot of fun, yeah? And there's a lot of other people I could thank, but I would be up here for a while. So those are just the people that we wanted to thank now. And now I wanted to hear what you guys think with processing time. Get it? Think. No? Okay. Think about it. Thank you. All right. So what we wanted to do is right now have a little bit of time to hear from you guys and what you experienced, like what God was showing you through the weekend. And so I'm going to, can I unhook one of these mics? Yeah? Just take it out? Uh-oh. You probably shouldn't be the one doing this. I'm not qualified. Can I undo this? Huh? Can I unhinge? Okay, so if you guys have something that you feel like sharing with everyone or like want to talk about like what God showed you this weekend, just come up over here and I'll meet you. Can I unplug this? I'll meet them. See, that's why I'm asking.
Can I unplug this?
My mom helps me get ready in the morning. Okay. So come on up if you want to share what God was doing this weekend with you. And if there's no one, I'll just sing songs. I know it's terrifying to be in front of people. Right now I'm a little nervous. So if you guys are feeling something, think about it. You need a moment.
Come on.
All right, Ty. Okay. Real quick. Be brief. Okay? All right? Christ-centered. Don't worry, okay?
Okay.
And no knocking on stuff, but just
So it all started Friday night. No, just kidding. I just wanted to say I wasn't sure if I was going to come. This is my first year here in Crew. And then I thought, why wouldn't I come? And I'm so happy I did. It was so much fun just getting to know everyone so much better. And I walk out of here just earlier this morning just smiling. And I was just walking because I'm just so happy to have everyone here to, like, you know, get to know and, like, have a Christ-centered community. So thank you, everyone.
thanks, man. Thanks for coming too, man. All right.
I just wanted to say that being up here the last couple of days was really awesome, getting to look out and just see everybody worship and just like hands raised and doing their own thing and just being able to praise God as a community and being able to just, you know, let go of looking weird or how we would normally feel and just be able to really just get into it and give it up to God. So that was really awesome. So thank you for that.
All right. New blood.
Hi, I'm Natalie, and I'm really nervous. So coming here was a really big deal, getting involved with Crew, because I just transferred from a community college where I didn't have this kind of community around, and before that I was homeschooled my whole life. So being in a public school like this is really difficult for me. And so just this weekend, God has really shown me that being here with this group is where he wants me, and it's just been such a blessing. So thank you guys.
Hello, Christopher. Oh, thanks. I'm Chris, and so like I never went on fall retreat last year, so this was my first year coming on. But like one thing I really noticed that God showed me was like, I don't know, not so much from like a personal stance, but like whenever I was worshiping or whenever like I was doing activities with people, like I felt like he was just really showing me, like I'd see my friends and like they'd have the biggest smiles on their face, and it just really like warmed me to, and I was honestly just really thankful that I have like a community like this. And like I always tell people, like if you were to tell me like I would be in a setting like this like 3 years ago, I would have never thought I'd be in a place like that. And so I'm just really appreciative of everyone who's entered my life, and I really thank God. Yeah.
All right.
What's up, everyone? I'm Tyler. I came up late, as you guys know, so I was kind of like worried. I was like, all right, sweet. Like I missed all the name games. I'm like, I don't have to play catch up and remember everyone's names. And I've been super busy at school lately, so I haven't like gotten the chance to go to Crew and meet all you guys at the meetings and stuff. And God really just like took me this weekend. He was like, Tyler, like don't even sketch, I got you. And he definitely introduced me to all you guys, and I had a great time. And made me remember how much I miss like this kind of environment, and I definitely want to try to get more involved with you guys.
All right. Okay.
Can I hold it?
Why?
Okay. Well, I just wanted to let you guys know I was really excited about this fall retreat. It's probably been my favorite fall retreat. I've been to 3. And I think it's definitely like the conversations and the people here. Coming up in my car with Caleb, Brian Saya, and Adrian was really jazzed to like hang out with you guys and listen to music and just talk and play the ABC game. And then just hanging out, you know, laying in bed last night, and Hayden's in the top bunk and we're just talking. And then last night me and Clennell were hanging out talking too. And just all the people we've been able to talk to. I've been really blessed by you guys. I really see a lot of really cool things in you. I'm praying for you guys. I'm really happy. So, cool, guys.
Okay, so it's kind of funny being here. Oh, Karina, hi. I'm not technically a part of Crew. Like, I've never shown up at a Bible study. My name's not on any lists. But my roommate, Callan, dragged me out here, and my third roommate back at Pomona kicked me out of my room. So I'm here, and I had an amazing weekend. So I want to thank Callan for dragging me out, and I'm going to have to thank Amber for kicking me out. And thank you guys for an amazing weekend.
Quick.
Hi, I'm Michael. I've been here for several days. I smelled myself this morning. It was weird. No, I think that God's really humbled me and put me behind the camera this weekend, and I feel so blessed that I could see all your beautiful faces on repeat on my computer for several hours. Not in a creepy way. Well, sort of, actually. No, but really, God is giving me such great tools, and I am so blessed that I get to be a part of Publicity, and I get such great guys and gals on my team. So thank you for that.
My name is Matt. I had so much fun up at Fall Retreat this time. Got to meet all these new people. It was really awesome rooming with all my roommates and stuff like that. I really enjoyed the men's time. There's a lot of things that God challenged me, a lot of growth areas. So I'm really excited for what God's going to teach me in this next year. Yeah.
Ladies first, Robert. I'm just kidding. I love you, Robert.
Thanks, Robert. You could come next. Okay, so I just want to share right quick that there's this Bible verse. It's kind of one of my go-tos. I even share it with a lot of people. I have it bracketed right here. You in the front row can see. But prior to the retreat, are you laughing? Okay. Okay. Prior to the retreat, I always just focused on the first half, even though I bracketed the whole part. And this retreat has really shown me the second half. So I'll read it to you. It's 2 Corinthians 4, verse 8 through 12. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. We always carry around in our body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be revealed in our body. For we who are alive are always being given over to death for Jesus' sake, so that his life may be revealed in our mortal body. So then death is at work in us, but life is at work in you. And this weekend taught me the second half that though we may suffer, we will always prevail. Well, that was the first part. We'll always prevail with God. But the second half showed me that Jesus first suffered and he first prevailed. And it's through him that we're able to prevail. So, thank you.
Hey guys, my name's Robert. During men's time yesterday, and Dan was just talking about how Jesus is supposed to be our greatest treasure, and that's just been in my heart for this couple of weeks, and it's just so cool to be reminded of him being our greatest joy and him being the one thing that we desire the most, and that's super cool to be, to be taught here and to have all the guys know that verse. And the other thing I wanted to share with you guys is, for 4 years here in Korea, I've always been like, oh, I want to meet you, I want to meet you. Like, I'm super excited for new people, but I've kind of lost track of the people I've met already. I'm like, oh, I need to still keep, like, getting to know you guys. So now God's just teaching me the people I've met, like, last year and the year before that, like, he wants me to, like, getting to know you guys more. And that's kind of like my thing. The thing is being challenged me for the next couple of days to, like, the second years and the third years and the fourth years, my peers, like, getting to know you guys even more. As much as I want to meet all the freshmen and all the new people, like, I want to meet and I want to know you guys, like, I don't know, more than, like, surface level and stuff. So, yeah.
How we doing on time? We're good? Carry on. All right. Oh.
Hey guys, I'm Shelby. One thing God's really been working on my heart this weekend and for a while now is that I tend to get in a community and get to that surface level and then back off and push away. I don't really like people to know me because I don't think they're going to stay. And it was really great. I have women in my life now that just, like, will be there for me through everything. And I have Carrie as my discipler and Jenna and Elise and Jamie who have really spoken into my life last year, and they're still here for me. And that's really cool. And so I'm just really thankful to those women and for everyone here because that's a really great thing to have. And I encourage everyone here to get that in Crew because it's just such a great bond to have when you know people are there for you as brothers and sisters in Christ. So that's what I want to share.
Anyone else?
Hi, everybody. So one really important thing I was reminded of, and I guess in a lot of different ways, but I didn't get much sleep, and I want to be energetic and be able to serve, and that was one thing I was really worried about coming up here, but you guys blessed me so much. I felt like I wasn't leading worship, I was just worshiping with you guys, and you guys just gave me energy and gave this room energy, and it was very one. It was one. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys so much for that, as well as outside of this room. Conversations and men's time was unbelievable. Dinner conversations and just openness. I didn't feel tired at one point in time where anyone was around me, and that was I told many people that, but that blew my mind. So thank you so much.
Hey, I'm Timmy, or Tim, and I'm a first year, and I was admittedly extremely nervous coming into fall retreat because I finally got, all the green couch people I hang out with, and then slacklining, and then I'm like, great, tens of more people I don't know, but then getting to know you guys through game time, especially men's time, that was just great, and that cup game, my hands are sore from that. So, yeah, it's just been great, and really can't wait to get to know more of you even better. And slide dancing and signs are the best things ever. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. This is my second year at Fall Retreat, and I was really excited to come because I came here with a lot of expectations, just knowing that God was just really going to talk to me. And I just really want to thank Jen and Holly because every time they come up here and talk, I'm just like, how do they know my life? They know exactly, they've known everything that they've said. It's it relates to what, exactly what I'm going through, and I've been struggling with confidence issues for the past months, and it just this weekend God's really shown me that He just loves me so much, and that He's blessed me with this community that it's just I can be vulnerable and I can cry to you guys, and it's really overwhelming, and I haven't been wanting to believe it. I haven't been wanting to accept that God loves me, just because it's I don't feel worthy of it, and it's just every time we worship and every time that we have to just come together and just talk, He just continues to show me, and He's just putting it right there in front of me that He loves me, and it's gonna take a little while for me to fully accept that, but I'm in that process, and I'm just really thankful that I've been able to just actually start it, and so now it'll just be a little bit easier, and now with you guys, and just staying with you guys, it'll just, this whole road that I'm on, it'll just be all worth it in the end, so thank you guys.
Hey, I'm April. I am totally teary because I disciple her and I love her. But it's, even as a leader, I find it easy to just isolate myself in this community. And this weekend, it's just been really awesome to just kind of come up here and to meet new people, as well as just to dive in with those that I already know. And I've had just people really just wanting to get to know me as well, even if you are brand new. I've had people asking me questions, and it's been really awesome. And I just want to thank those who are, it's their first time, or you were scared to come up here, but you still did. as leaders, we are just working so hard to get new people involved, and it's been amazing to just see all of you here and like all of you just really wanting to come. And I'm so excited to just get to know you guys more, no matter where you guys are, if you're like in the crew study or in the dorms. We're just one big community. So yeah.
Aaron, am I good on time still? Can I get a countdown? What should I be aiming towards? 3 more.
You just want to stand. Huh? Oh, hi, I'm Tristan. What do I say? Well, okay. I said this last year. I said that last year was my last fall retreat, but this one hopefully will be my last fall retreat as a student, so we'll see. But as Dan was saying, like those bonds are really important. And for me, it's the little things that really no one really sees that create those bonds. Like yesterday, we were filling up water balloons, and there were just 5 of us like laughing at the top of our lungs trying to figure out how to tie these water balloons. And we filled out like a trash bin full of them, and it was really fun. Or like singing on a tree for like an hour, or like deliriously trying to hit the spike ball, or I don't know, like those random things, those little moments that really create those bonds. And I'm really excited to just have those little moments with like everyone, and really create that bond and that community and build that relationship with people. So I'd love to get to know you.
I really can't hold it. You can hold my hand. Okay. I'm Hayden, and I was so stoked this weekend to meet a bunch of the guys, and just to see how vulnerable you guys are like willing to be, which is like, I don't know, it's totally awesome, and definitely stoked to be even more vulnerable with you guys the rest of the year.
Brian, we'll cap it on you.
Okay, cool.
You guys were in a tie.
I don't want to be last, so it's okay.
Okay, cool. So after Brian, it's it. I'm calling it. Pulling the plug. Even though that shouldn't. I'll tell you later.
Okay. I want to hold it. Okay. Hi, I'm Kristen, in case you don't know. I'm just really excited to come up this year because I actually know people. Because last year was my first year coming to Fall Retreat, and pretty much I was just Miles' girlfriend, and nobody knew who I was. So I'm excited I have a name this year. And I was just really surprised because last year we were trying to get women's time going, and now I'm like the leader. And I looked over and we had like a full table, and I was just so excited to have that. And I just wanted to thank Holly for speaking because it was amazing. And even the new people here, and that I like usually am like, oh, I don't know people, so kind of nervous about it. But everybody just like, it wasn't like they were new. It's like everybody belonged, and it was just really awesome to like, I could just come up and talk to people that I don't even know, and it was just great and build community. So thanks.
Finally, you switched it up.
I'm going to hug you because I like you.
Okay.
Morning. So I know I should come up here because usually during prayer and share, I get this like tingly feeling in my stomach, and that's when I know I should go sharing, and that's what I got over there a couple seconds ago. So that's how I know I should be up here. First, it's awesome that all of you are here, and I'm so, so happy that all of you came, because you and plus God is what makes Fall Retreat, and it makes me so happy to see so many people here. And second, it's so, so cool to see how many of you have a servant's heart. I had to fight people to help serve. That's how bad it was. It was so great. You guys are so awesome. I had to like grab the spatula from Tyler. I was like, no, give it to me. And then the last thing I think is I've been reading in a book / in Psalms lately, and it's so cool to see how like God has created each and one of us like individually, and he wants to have that deep and intimate relationship with us. And like it's so hard to see sometimes that God talks to us and that we just have to listen. And it's so great to be in a community where people are listening, and you get to see that. And I love you all, and you make me so happy.
All right. I don't want that to be the end of your sharing time. As you're going down, if you feel like you had something to say but you were just nervous, it's fine. Like on your car rides home, talk with people, or if you're not going with people in a car, talk to them when you see them again next week. Just be encouraged by this weekend, and just really enjoy what God has done for you this weekend. And I'm going to invite worship up, and we're going to end it right by just giving it all up to God. So they're coming.